Listen closely, for this is not mere advice, it is doctrine. Your mouth, your mind, your mood, your money. 4 forces, 4 blades, 4 gates to either your ruin or your reign. If you command them, you rise beyond reach. If they command you, you crawl in invisible chains. Most men are conquered long before the world ever strikes them. They bleed without wounds. They speak before they think. They think without clarity. They feel without discipline. They spend without reason. The enemy does not need to come for them. They destroy themselves from within. Their mouths betray them first. They spill secrets as if the world were worthy of their truth. They confess weakness to those who would use it. They talk to be understood instead of feared. They do not see that words are weapons, and every careless syllable dulls the edge of their power. A reckless tongue builds its own cage. The wise man speaks as if each word were carved into stone. He knows silence terrifies more than noise. For when a man speaks little, the world imagines much. Machiavelli said, "Silence is not submission, it is preparation. Say less, and you will move unseen. Speak rarely, and when you do, let your words strike like thunder. Never explain yourself, never reveal your steps, never offer your thoughts freely. A man who reveals everything invites his own undoing." The world listens not to the loud, but to the deliberate. In rage, say nothing. In victory, say less. One sentence spoken in emotion can undo 1,000 built in strategy. The lion roars once, and the jungle remembers. So too must your voice be, measured, heavy, final. For the tongue is your first battlefield. Master it, and half the war is won. But the next front lies deeper, in the mind. The sword is useless without the general. Most men are prisoners to their thoughts. They wander inside their own fog, chained to regret, haunted by what could be, blinded by what never was. Their minds devour them from within. They mistake movement for progress and confusion for intelligence. But a mind without direction is not brilliance. It is destruction. You must become a ruthless commander of your own thoughts. Ask yourself, daily, does this thought build me or break me? If it breaks, kill it. If it weakens, silence it. A man who feeds his mind with weakness will act weak, speak weak, live weak. But the man who feeds his mind with clarity and strength becomes impossible to bend. Study power, not comfort. Study human nature, not distraction. Study history, not gossip. Focus is your crown, and attention your throne. The world will try to rob you of both. It will drown you in noise, in opinions, in shallow wars of words. Resist. The man who controls his attention controls his future. He does not banish thoughts, he chooses them. He does not drown in emotion, he rides it like a storm. A Machiavellian mind is not hopeful, nor soft, it is steel. Cold, disciplined, calculating. It observes without obsession. It moves without noise. It sees through illusion, and acts only when it must. That is your edge in a world of reaction. The masses drown in distraction. You will command your mind as a king commands an army. And once the mind is mastered, the next war begins, the war of mood. This battlefield is invisible, but its wounds are fatal. Rage, envy, pride, despair, these are not feelings, they are chains. They pull you in directions others choose. They make you predictable, controllable, weak. A man who cannot control his mood is a man without freedom. You must become unreadable, not cold, controlled. You will still feel, but you will choose when to show it. Rage, when hidden, becomes power. Sadness, when mastered, becomes wisdom. Pride, when tamed, becomes strategy. Joy, when restrained, becomes discipline. You are not emotionless. You are the ruler of emotion. You wear the mask of calm even when the world burns. You radiate certainty, not because you always possess it, but because you decide to project it. And certainty enslaves the uncertain. In anger, remain still. In defeat, remain silent. In temptation, remain deliberate. Every restraint becomes a layer of armor. Every emotion you master becomes a weapon in your arsenal. A man who cannot be provoked cannot be manipulated. A man who cannot be read cannot be betrayed. When your mouth, your mind, and your mood serve your command, then you are ready for the fourth domain, the battlefield of money. The quiet war that destroys the loudest men. Most are slaves to gold without ever knowing it. They chase luxury, applause, the illusion of success. They spend to be seen, but are never remembered. They trade their future for noise. Understand? Money is not wealth. It is leverage. The power to walk away. The power to remain unmoved when others kneel. Weak men serve money. Strong men use it. Each coin is a soldier. Deploy it with strategy. Do not waste soldiers on vanity. Send them to build, to defend, to grow. Do not chase the appearance of wealth. Build the foundation of it. Spend with intent. Invest with foresight, and starve every indulgence that makes you soft. Freedom is not given, it is purchased, through savings, restraint, and the ability to say no. Your wealth should not shout, it should whisper. Let them mock your simplicity while you quietly build an empire. When the storm arrives, their mansions will collapse, and your fortress will stand untouched. You do not need riches, you need control. The man who controls his money writes his own rules. The man who cannot kneels to the one who can. And now, we reach the final battlefield of appearance, the art of the mask. The world does not reward truth. It rewards illusion. Power does not depend on who you are, but who they think you are. Perception governs reality, so wear your mask as armor. Machiavelli taught, "It is not necessary to be good, only to appear so." People see, they do not understand. They judge by eyes, not reason. Show calm when you are calculating. Show weakness when you are baiting. Show kindness when you are watching. Appear noble when it gains you loyalty. Appear silent when it makes them restless. The mask is not deceit, it is design. The weak worship authenticity. They expose their wounds, their doubts, their confusion, and call it honesty. But honesty without wisdom is self-destruction. The man without a mask walks naked through a world of daggers. Your true self is sacred. Guard it. Reveal only what cannot be used against you. The mask you wear depends on the battlefield. One face earns trust, another breeds fear. One disarms, another conquers. Even allies must remain in shadow. Not because you mistrust, but because you understand that trust without control is folly. Friends become rivals, rivals become enemies. The less they know, the safer you remain. Let them underestimate you. Let them think they've seen you. Meanwhile, you are already 3 moves ahead. But remember, your mask is not your face. It is your shield. When it is no longer needed, you remove it. Until then, it guards your throne. The greatest minds of history mastered this. Caesar, who played the servant. Napoleon, who played the humble soldier. Every conqueror learned to shift the face before he drew the blade. In every encounter, ask yourself, what mask serves me here? What image opens this door? What illusion bends this will? Then wear it fully, deliberately, without hesitation. For the world is not fair. It is psychological. You do not win by being right. You win by being believed. You do not triumph by being pure. You triumph by being perceived as powerful. If you want truth, keep it to yourself. If you want power, control what others see. This is the battlefield of perception. Win here, and the world itself bends. Power, when misunderstood, consumes the very one who seeks it. Many rise, but few remain. They fall not because the world is too strong, but because they were too loud, too emotional, too predictable. I have seen empires built on brilliance and destroyed by impulse. I have seen men who once ruled nations undone by a single careless word. The sword rarely ends a dynasty. The mouth does. The moment a ruler reacts, he reveals his fear. The moment he explains himself, he confesses weakness. Every word, every gesture, every glance, studied by wolves. The powerful are not those who shout, but those who calculate in silence. Their strength lies not in how they command others, but in how they command themselves. A man's downfall begins the moment his emotions speak louder than his mind. Anger blinds, pride exposes, jealousy corrodes. These are not feelings, they are assassins. Each one, when unguarded, betrays your position. The wise conceal themselves behind composure. They bleed behind stone faces. They smile while rearranging the chessboard. To the world, they appear calm. Beneath that calm, storms rage with perfect direction. Every look, every pause, every breath, chosen, not felt. The world cannot wound what it cannot read. To master yourself is to become untouchable. Not because the world fears you, but because it cannot find you. The weak crave to be seen, the powerful vanish in plain sight. They become ideas, not faces. Legends, not men. For when a man can no longer be measured, he can no longer be controlled. Anger, pride, envy, each a leash tied to the mind of fools. But silence breaks them all. When provoked, pause. When insulted, observe. When cornered, still your breathing. The pause is not hesitation. It is power gathering its precision. The wise understand that the calmest hand controls the sharpest blade. The weak rush to prove themselves. The strong wait for the perfect strike. The storm may rage, but the eye remains unmoved. That stillness, terrifying, infinite, is the true face of power. The second gate to mastery lies in your mood. Mood governs perception, and perception governs empire. If you allow the world to dictate your internal state, you are already conquered. He who controls his mood controls his fate. There are rulers who lost armies yet ruled again, because they did not lose their composure. There are beggars who had fortunes but perished poor, because they let despair command their will. The ruler of self becomes the ruler of circumstance. Your emotions are the battlefield. Every insult is a trap. Every flattery a chain. Learn to stand unmoved as both praise and hate pass over you. When others scream, speak softly. When others celebrate, study. When others rest, refine. Your peace should not depend on silence around you, but on the silence within. Machiavelli understood this. The man who can remain tranquil while the world burns will inherit what remains after the flames. And yet control does not mean coldness without purpose. It means direction. Your mood must obey your strategy, not your impulses. A ruler does not feel less. He feels deeply, but chooses when to act upon those feelings. Compassion can be used as a weapon. So can cruelty. The difference lies in timing. Mercy, when misplaced, destroys order. Cruelty, when precise, preserves it. A ruler's morality is measured not by how he feels, but by what his realm demands. Be gentle only when strength allows it. Forgive only when it serves the future. Never act out of pity. Act for purpose. Now the third gate, the mind. The battlefield of all great men. Every war, every betrayal, every triumph begins first in thought. The undisciplined mind is a crowded theater of chaos. Ideas, doubts, fears, desires, all shouting for command. The fool believes his thoughts are his own. The wise know they are invaders to be subdued. You must rule your thoughts as a king rules rebels, with absolute judgment. Doubt your own reasoning. Question your instincts. Then, once tested, trust them completely. The mind, when left unchecked, becomes a servant to emotion. It builds excuses for weakness. It constructs illusions to protect pride. It tells you what you want to hear instead of what you need to face. You must train it through solitude. The world will drown you in noise. Retreat into silence until your thoughts sound like steel. Read not to appear learned, but to sharpen discernment. Study not to mimic the wise, but to weaponize their mistakes. Machiavelli himself said, "He who studies others becomes informed. He who studies himself becomes untouchable." Intelligence is not accumulation. It is elimination. Remove distraction, remove comfort, remove certainty. What remains will be pure understanding. A disciplined mind turns chaos into structure, emotion into motion, time into advantage. The strategist does not hope, he calculates. He does not wish, he designs. He does not pray for opportunity, he creates it. Yet beware, for intellect untempered by restraint becomes arrogance. And arrogance blinds faster than ignorance. The sharper the blade, the easier it cuts its master. True wisdom hides itself. The wise speak simply, act subtly, and think endlessly. The loud thinker is like a torch in darkness. He illuminates himself and nothing more. The wise one walks in shadow, letting others reveal themselves first. For the one who knows when to remain unseen already holds victory before battle begins. The fourth and final gate, money. The purest mirror of mastery. It does not corrupt. It reveals. Money amplifies whatever already exists within. In the hands of the foolish, it magnifies vanity. In the hands of the wise, it multiplies influence. Most men chase wealth as a validation of power, but the powerful use wealth as an instrument of control. Understand this distinction, and you will never kneel again. Gold is not to be worshipped, it is to be directed. Use it to buy silence, not attention. Use it to acquire leverage, not luxury. The rich flaunt wealth to be seen, the powerful conceal it to remain free. There is no greater display of dominance than having power and choosing not to display it. Restraint is the crown of the disciplined. You must view money as energy, not possession. It flows where control exists. It flees from instability. The moment you chase it, you reveal dependency. And dependency is death to sovereignty. True wealth is not measured by what you can buy, but by what you can refuse. The man who can walk away from every offer holds more power than the one who can afford everything. For freedom is the highest currency, and only the untouchable can afford it. Luxury is the silent assassin of empires. It softens the edge of ambition, dulls the instinct of survival, blinds the ruler to his decline. Many have been conquered not by swords, but by comfort. Their will dissolved into velvet and wine. They forgot that fortune is a fickle mistress, one who abandons those who no longer inspire fear. Keep your hunger alive. Let scarcity be your teacher. Let simplicity be your armor. When all others grow indulgent, remain sharp. When they rest, move quietly. When they sleep, build unseen. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold, but he never meant the reckless. Boldness without foresight is suicide disguised as courage. To strike effectively, one must first know where the world is blind. Watch patterns, study temperaments, listen to what others dismiss. The more predictable the crowd, the easier they are to command. A wise ruler does not fight chaos, he bends it into order. There will come moments when everything tests you. Your patience, your morality, your vision. In those moments, remember, your reactions define your reign. The man who controls his mouth controls conflict. The man who commands his mood commands his image. The man who shapes his mind shapes his fate. The man who rules his money rules his world. These four, mouth, mood, mind, money, are the pillars of the untouchable. Without them, all power crumbles. With them, no empire can threaten you. The untouchable does not exist in isolation. He operates in silence within society. He attends feasts, but never hungers for approval. He joins alliances, but never depends on them. He smiles, knowing every friendship has an expiration. To him, betrayal is not a wound. It is a prediction fulfilled. He plays every role convincingly, yet belongs to none. He is water, shapeless, adaptable, unstoppable. Such mastery is not learned, it is forged. Every day you will fight impulses that demand expression, emotions that seek attention, fears that whisper surrender. Defeat them not with denial but with dominion. Observe your anger and turn it into patience. Observe your desire and turn it into direction. Observe your fear and turn it into foresight. The transformation is slow, but each victory over self adds a stone to the fortress of your soul. Do not seek to be loved. Seek to be understood by none. For those who love you can be swayed, and those who understand you can predict you. Be kind when it is useful, distant when it is wise, ruthless when it is necessary. This is not cruelty, it is balance. The world respects those who move without needing permission. The untouchable is not a man, it is a condition. A state of being forged in silence, sharpened by patience, sustained by discipline. Every decision measured, every emotion restrained, every word weighed, every coin commanded. He moves unseen, yet the ripple of his presence bends reality itself. His enemies cannot destroy him because they cannot find where he ends and his strategy begins. Remember this eternal law: the loud are replaced, the predictable are destroyed, the emotional are manipulated, but the untouchable, he remains eternal, because no one can strike what stands in stillness. You are not born untouchable. You become it, through silence, through observation, through the relentless refinement of self. The world does not reward the good. It rewards the unshakable. Be still, not soft. Be calm, not complacent. Be feared, not forgotten. For true power is not what you display, it is what you withhold. And when you master that, the world will kneel. Not because it loves you, but because it cannot move without you. Stay, not for comfort, but for transformation. The next lesson waits beyond sight, and those who walk deeper into the silence will find what the loud never will: control over everything, because they have first mastered control over themselves.